Thank you for being here today and listening to what is going to be shared with you. I truly appreciate the prayers in the last 24 hours specifically and over the last couple of weeks. A lot of questions I'm sure that you still have, and I'll aim to provide a presentation overview, and then there's opportunity downstairs in the fellowship hall to ask more detailed questions from the building committee. Members are here. Adrian, Cora, Jonathan is hopefully here. Brian, Bernie is not. So I want to thank them and their work over the last couple of weeks to assist in what I have to share with you today. So we are at inevitably a bit of a crossroads here, but again, Brian's message about the plan, the problem, and the solution. We do have had a plan. We have a problem now, and we're looking for a solution to move us forward here. And even in my own quiet time, it's just the reminder through what I saw and read this week that it was a note that, Father, thank you for your promise to walk with us through life. In moments of doubt, challenge, and unknown circumstance, help us to have confidence to know that you are in control and we can trust you. And that's where I'm at today. Confidence that God has a plan for us, and moving forward, whether we advance with this building project or not, this congregation and us as a community here, God has a plan for us, and he's going to use us in Parkwood Gardens community here, either way where we go. And that's the confidence that I have, and in confidence I have in God with all this. Even working through my own quiet time, my own spiritual growth through yet another challenge, or challenges as we face, we draw closer to God, and that's what he's done for me, and I trust he's done the same for you as you've been praying and wondering what's going on. So with that, I just want to move us along here. Again, looking at what are we doing this for, why are we doing this, where are we going, and it's around our real vision and our purpose here at Parkwood Gardens Church, and that's missional living, making sure we are reaching out and we have outreach in our community. It's not just about us alone. We want to empower you folks to live in that same vision. We want to train and equip you and assist you in your testimonies as you go out. And that's what we've been doing through the building committee, whether it's meeting with our contractor and sub-trades. They're coming into our building. We've been sharing with them our vision, and that's a real check in my mind for that piece in a sort of building committee way. But you've done a lot more. You're doing a lot more in that. So congregational life, we want to focus on worship, prayer, collective evangelism. So we want to see that. We want to fellowship together. We want to be mentoring and discipling one another. And whether it's through a committee structure or one-on-one Bible studies, that's the focus. New ministry opportunities, and again, that was the purpose of the expansion, to enable that. And the solutions before you, hopefully all these still are true and relevant in my mind, and just help me reaffirm where we're at right now. So what we have accomplished to date. So some good news and some good investment in and what we've done. We've accomplished all the studies we needed for this site, whether it's soil, building, asbestos, everything. We've got a good handle on that. The next bullet there, we've obtained our approvals, what's called a site plan. So all the works on the grounds are approved by both the city and the township. So that's all checked, and it's what's called registered now on our deed. So that's a good thing. Our building permits for what we had proposed are very close. We have some minor fees and just one or two revisions, and that would have been a go forward with us at this time. We were awarded the grant for $50,000 from the federal government for accessibility related to washrooms, the parking lot, and an elevator, much needed. And we've tendered the project. And you've seen the plans, and what we wanted to achieve was the multi-purpose auditorium, gymnasium. We wanted to double that lobby area and have a larger stage out front here. We wanted that main floor commercial kitchen. We wanted washrooms, numerous washroom stalls and facilities on this floor. We wanted the elevator. We wanted offices for staff to enable them. We wanted to look at our Christian education and meeting rooms. nursery expansion as well to make sure those needs were met, and we wanted to refresh the building. We had a budget of $2.1 million, and that was the construction cost noted with the proposed addition, fees, of course, and permits, and contingency, and taxes. We have to pay those as well. We don't get them through the fish, but we earn them, and we give them accordingly. So that's a part of the reality we live in too. And the reality of the situation we're faced is an economy that's growing, an economy that's very active, very low unemployment here in Guelph and the surrounding area, and we're seeing it, an active housing market, and we're all hearing the stories. Just yesterday in the Record, again, another article just in Kitchener-Waterloo, 30% increase in housing year over year. We're seeing it. First-time home owners and buyers can't even get in the market based on where we're going right now. And he's noted in some of the previous, last week's handouts, some of the rationale why we're facing an over-budget issue right now. So here's the issue. So we tendered the project as is, as shown on the drawings, and so we're basically 40% over budget with us. In my mind, as we were preparing for these final drawings, and even noted in the annual meeting, this was the biggest risk that was before us and in my mind. It came, half a year I already knew we were trending up, we're going over, we're seeing some challenges. I anticipated 15 to 20, and that's sort of the typical range. And we went far with all the work that we did on the plans. We wanted to hear all the ministry needs, we wanted to hear the vision from all the different groups, and we wanted to try to enable that. That was a mindset of the building committee, not to say no within reason to the different. So whether it was a water fountain, whether it was the right AV for the group that uses this stage, a new stage, whether it was the kitchen, we wanted to drive that forward in all means. And that reflects that. So there's a bit of that in there. But in my mind, we knew, too, what would need to be cut in terms of areas. We had pullback pieces already to handle that 15 to 20%, and that was part of the plan. So, and this is not atypical for a construction project and how we move forward in the various sectors that I'm involved in, and I'm sure with your work. Even if you're building a kitchen or a new house, you sort of want all those pieces, and you need to make choices moving back. You want to buy a new car, you sort of go for what you want to, what you think would be nice, and then you have to peel back on the option pieces to get you within your budget. So that was the prices are a reality. Those are tendered through our project manager, and our local sub-trades have bid on this, and this is where we're at. As a result of increased construction costs, fees and permits go up, and then as well, we wanted to maintain that contingency taxes go up as well as the percentage. So I've noted some of the issues here. Hopefully you've read those. The active construction market, competitive market within all the school boards, industrial areas, the ICI, industrial, commercial, institutional. There's over 100 jobs being still tendered in the market right now. We've seen some costs, or the contractors already budgeting for increase in asphalt and flooring, anything with the petroleum products. Just within from where we probably last talked, really changes on the building code in terms of energy efficiency, whether it's lights or all rooms that we added onto would need sensors now to automatically turn off the lights. So those were some driving costs. We had additional insulation factors needed on the building. We had radon protection needed. So all these other things start to chip away at it. They're the right things to do, but they cost money. Same with the accessibility. They're the right things to do, but even code requirements and implementation for an accessible Ontario is what drives up cost. In my area of work and realm, and we're seeing it too, our projects are increasing. We want to make sure we are an open and accessible community. We want to make sure we're doing the right things, and there's a cost associated with that. The contractor, our project manager, really spoke to the economies of scale and just the busyness of the contractors. They said, we'll give you a price, but we don't want to handle any of the material on the site. We don't want to deal with that. So we've had to adapt with that. We've had some minor scope increases. I talked about going that full vision forward, where we saw an opportunity for a bit of storage in the basement. We tried to achieve that. So that's where we're at. So we looked at the options. What are we going to do next? We looked at really 3, and I think one's missing there, Brian, just got chopped off, sorry about that. We wanted to look at a reduced scope and tender now. We talked about re-tendering for next year as well, so some pros, cons there. So over the last, say, month from when we heard this news, the building committee team has been probably meeting twice a week, and we've been meeting with the project manager and the architect, lots of emails. We've met with the executive team multiple times to share this news and work through it. So 3 options in terms of reduce the scope and re-tender. There's the positives. We have project approval well in hand, some good discussions with the city on changes already. They're receptive to that. We want to maintain the momentum and advance the vision. That's what could be achieved if we keep going. Still some challenges, availability of trades as we move along. They're booking other jobs and just going with that. And timing, we may get into some winter issues as we get to the end of the season, but we're already working on that thought process with our project manager. We could re-tender next year, pause, just hold all the drawings and approvals we have, but costs continue to increase 10 to 15%. We could lose the grant, and availability of trades still will be a problem we envision next year. We have some of them on the hook through what we've done with trying to scope this down, and hopefully they will continue with us. The other one was about a focus on pausing and reevaluating where we are and seeing where we are to go next. So that was the 3rd option. The recommended approach before the congregation, as recommended by the executive team through the building committee, is to reduce the scope and continue on with the re-tendering process and get us into the ground hopefully by July. There's still some variables and key points to address with that. So what we would achieve is what would be around the site or around the building, all new paving, new sidewalks, getting the lighting in that's needed. We'd add the new water and sewer lines that we need. We'd do any works within the right-of-way. We'd maintain the footprint. You've seen the plans with the gym and the facility, the auditorium on that side of the building. We want to maintain that footprint with the exception of the stairwell at the back that would be put in. We really look at this as a ministry value of building an envelope for us to continue the vision, focus on a gym at this time, and that would function as an overflow space. We'd maintain our current sanctuary, so the focus is to meet here until we can afford to meet in that gym. And then the sanctuary and the lobby size would be maintained. We'd eliminate the office area at the front of the church, just off to my left here, your right. That would be eliminated to enhance some lobby space and give us the elevator that we need. So as funding permit, we would advance the kitchen. The gym would function then as an auditorium, and then we'd look at how the washrooms and the office space, this space here, would be renovated. So what we've done is we worked with our project manager, CRD, and our architect to evaluate the credits for all this and see what that meant in terms of potential budget. Oh, sorry, let me go through the drawings first. So what you see here in the blue and the driveway area, that would all be maintained. The footprint's basically as shown there. We would also then here, let me speak to what the changes would be. The 2 red areas, we'd maintain the existing sanctuary and lobby. As I noted, we eliminate the office. So that's basically what we see with the Xed area. The stairwell that I noted to is shown in red there. We'd eliminate that. So basically, the existing or proposed blue area would be maintained with the proposal. So on the basement level, again, we would see the basement footprint maintained with the exception of that stairwell area. So our existing stairwell can be maintained with this plan. The elevator shaft would still be provided, ending up in the resource room. So here's what it would look like. That area that's pointed to, that's the stairwell. That entry would be maintained where the entry is at the back. That would continue. What you see in terms of fit and finish on the new addition, our goal is that is to be maintained. We've looked at what that means. Some minor modifications, some cost savings if how we deal with the tower at the front, but that's just everything else would be maintained in terms of the vision on the exterior of the property. So then I was speaking to the budget. This is where we're at in terms of a 1.9 target. I'm just going to flip to my notes because I just can't quite see that screen here. So 1.9, then we have some additional contingencies that are needed there, fees and permits, contingencies to get us to the 2.35. So right now it's 250,000 over budget. We do have the grant that's available for us right now. So right now we're still from where we have earmarked the budget. We're still 200,000 over. So here's a summary of still some of the project challenges. We're not out of the woods yet, so we want to explain those and be clear about those. We have a shortfall of about $200,000 still with those modifications. And we are going that way versus getting right into the sort of no increases in budget for a couple of reasons. If we start to change our site plan with the city, that will constitute more changes with the architect, more cost to do that, going back and dealing with lawyers, dealing with city bureaucrats, and working through all that too. So that'll be a challenge. We'll need to follow up with the lender. We've had a good meeting with them, but they do want to see how the folks here respond and how we respond as a congregation to this challenge, and also to the increasing the ministry as well. Could lose the grant if we, or a portion of it, if we defer. We're going to have conversations with them. As I noted, pending city approval, they still have the final say on some changes, but we've had some good discussions with them as well. Timing to re-tender takes a bit of time. We're still, if re-tender drawings we're going to work simultaneously. They'll come in this week. We'll get them out for 2 weeks. We'll close within another 3 weeks to get all the prices. And again, it's still a competitive market, and hopefully we can secure that. Spoke about the exterior challenges as well. Everything's a little bit of variable on a whole bunch of things, and will really come down to the costing coming in, and also the response from you folks. You're key to us to this right now, and where we're going in terms of next steps, and I just want to share with those. Some of the potentials. First, though, we see there's still expanded ministry opportunity to impact people for Christ. Again, going back to those visional pieces we had around missional living, congregational life, and making sure we're doing that. We see it as a phased approach. The site works and the building envelope will be in place to enable future enhancements as funding become available. That may be further out, but everything will be in place. The kitchen we'd want to rough in now, other elements be ready to enable if funds do come in. And any contingency, we've earmarked $100,000 for contingency. If that if everything would go on site well, we would put that back into the building. Key priority being enhancing that kitchen. So the next steps. This is again where you get involved. So you've heard this for the first time. We're going to be available for questions downstairs. You can, some plans have been updated with the red lines downstairs. The presentation that I've just delivered is ready to go again. We will have a vote on May 14th. We want to take that back, all this information back to you. We are right now working on updating drawings and re-tendering. We want to keep that process going. There is, time is not on our side. We will talk with the city and get those final steps in place with them, and we will reconvene with our lender. So our goal at this point would be construction late June, July, and that's not bad in terms of timing. Yeah, there's some challenges with winter work, but we have, again, as I noted, had some good discussions with our project manager to deal with that. So next steps too, your prayerful consideration and commitment to the project. So you've been praying. We need you to pray further, and we need you to engage on commitment steps. So here is where the commitment lies now. So again, I'm saying this again because we've talked about this as a board and with the executive team. So I support the modifications to the plan. So we will do our best to help you understand that. We can share that. I remain faithful to my pledge. So we're looking for you to continue your pledge to the project at this time. And if you haven't pledged, I would encourage you to do so and speak to one of our teams to advance that. I will remain maintain my weekly contribution to the ministry, and that's important as well. Our annual and our monthly giving and helps maintain the ministry. And this is where, for all of us, maybe a little bit more rubber hits the road at this point. I'll give in 2017 an additional contribution of X dollars towards the $200,000 needed this year. We had looked at, can we get some additional financing from our lender? We don't want to do that at this point. It doesn't help us at the end. The need is now to get us into the ground. We don't want to defer that expense down the road. So what does that mean? What does that look like? So, it starts out simple terms, 100 people contributing $2,000. So maybe your tax returns come in and now you've got that. You've maybe earmarked it for something else. It means maybe we've got one person that wants to give $200,000. I'm not sure if that's there. And we've got 4 that want to give 50. That's maybe in more realistic, but maybe we're down to, 10 people given the 20. So, but we've broken it down as a smaller increment, as a step of faith for each of you at this point to see how you can partner to make this happen. And it goes again for me. We're coming back. Again, we had a plan. We have a problem. Here's the solution. And it's again, working through what are all the options. The building committee, the executive team, looking at that. What does that mean? This is the option that we're proposing to you. As I started with you're all, where we've gone on our journey on this, for each of you, it's personal about your contribution, how you've helped out, your ministry involved, commitment here, your partnership with advancing the kingdom. We have, in my mind, a great opportunity to continue in that regard. It means going a little deeper. And I don't feel bad asking folks for that and being asked to ask you, because I think the potential is there, and what we can do to have an impact in this community is great. Whether it's our ministry connection with our project manager, where we start meetings with prayer, we talk about what's going on here, that's having an impact for Christ at this moment. How we, interact with the city, that's having an impact for Christ within our community. They see what we're doing. So it's all, you're hearing this for the first time. You're having lots of emotions. I did too. I went through it. Again, we've got a sense. It's not about just me, but the committee, the executive team, where we want to go. I still see these images of being relevant to us for the future. So people coming, enjoying the space here, our building being a light or a beacon here in this community, us gathering and enjoying the worship together like we do here. A little different in the interim. A kitchen coming to help support ministries. Accessibility through the elevator being there. A gym where the kids can have their ministries. We can continue with that focus that we've had with this project. Community members using that facility, that new gym, whether it's the scouts, the day camp, elections, we have an opportunity to impact the community here in the broader. We have to impact that with our kids, friends coming to this church. We do have the potential. So that is where we're at right now. I just sensing time and seeing other folks coming. I will be downstairs immediately to take questions, and I look forward to the interaction. We are here to engage with you. You will have some tough questions for us, I'm sure, but we're glad to answer those and work through this at this point. Brian, maybe a word of prayer, and then we can proceed downstairs as needed.
I want to say thanks to Mark and the executive team and the building committee here with all of this. We've had 2 weeks to process this. And as we first saw these numbers come in, like, what, $3 million? Maybe some of you are feeling right now like we felt then, devastated. Oh, we can't do this. We're done. It's over. $3 million, no way we can do this. And so thankfully, people, some suggestions. Now, wait a minute. We can still do a lot without losing everything. And so we're so excited. We can still put in all those new parking spaces we need. We can still have this gym, because the priority in our vision wasn't moving the sanctuary over there. The priority was all the outreach things that we can do if we have the gym. And that kitchen for now can be classroom, big one. And then the next step, kind of fill that kitchen. And we're excited about the possibility that it doesn't have to be over. Yep, phased in over a while, but we're positive when at first we were devastated. So as Mark just said, there's a lot to process there. True? For all of us. And right now there's some disappointment that we can't do it all now, but we can do it all. It's just going to take some time. Maybe before we pray, I want to share one thing with you. The executive team said, what if 100 people gave, $2,000 so that we can have, we don't borrow. We can't borrow more than that. And I'm just excited about that. And even right around the room in that executive team, I'll give $2,000, and everybody can't. We know that. That's not the idea. So Lynette and I chatted this week, and we were talking about that. Like, we're happy to give out of our tax refund, like $5,000, because some others won't be able to. But yesterday I was with my dad, and he doesn't know anything about this, nothing. And he just reached over. He knows nothing. And he says, Brian, I want to give you a $2,000 check for your building plan. And how did he know we were looking for, anyway, you get the idea, right? So we ask you to pray. Mark's going downstairs. I'm sure you have lots of questions, and we have had 2 weeks to process this. We'll have 2 weeks before we ask you to, and at that time, make decisions when you've been thinking and praying, and we'll come together, ask all the questions you have. But we've got a great God, and we're asking him to direct us, all of us. Amen? All right, let's stand together and pray. Name of Jesus.